our two experts are here with us. So we have Meghana Malkan, who joins in to answer all our stock-specific queries and also to get some expert advice on our investment portfolios. We have Hemant Rustagi of Wiseinvest Advisors. Good afternoon to both of you, and thanks very much for joining in to advise all our callers. Our first caller, Shalini, has called in from Ahmedabad. Hi, Shalini.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, and how can we help you?
I'm also good. I have a query on Petronet LNG.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm holding 100 shares at rupees 175.
Okay.
Since 2 years I'm holding. I would like to know the near-term target.
Okay.
And should I hold or dispose it of?
Okay, so are you looking to exit the stock anytime soon? Is that why you're looking for a near-term target?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Meghna, what's the call on Petronet LNG? It's at her buy price is presently the trading price of the stock. So what should she do? She's not making either a loss or a profit, but she's held on to it for 2 years.
Yeah, hi. I think she could hold on to the stop of 155 levels. Because the stock doesn't look that bad, it looks pretty good on the higher time frame charts. She would expect a target of 210 in about 6 to 8 months time frame. So I think she could hold with that stop loss.
All right, maybe hold on is a good idea as for what Meghna's advice is. Well, let's get to our next query. We have Madhu, who writes to us from Mumbai. She says that she has invested in SBI Life Unit Plus 2 regular in October 2008 with a premium amount of around 50,000 for the first 3 years, after which she stopped paying the premium. She wants to know whether to withdraw or continue with it, or should she pay the premium at all. Hemant, that's her query. She was paying this particular premium. She started it in October 2008. Thereafter, she stopped paying it. That's after 3 years. So she's wanting to know what should she do now.
Well, I think the decision whether to hold this or to exit from this would actually depend on how adequately she has covered her in terms of life insurance. You know, if this is basically a unit-linked insurance plan, and if she is adequately covered by way of term plan, then my recommendation would be that she should exit from this. If she is not, then my recommendation would be that she should buy a term plan, because the benefit of buying a term plan is that not only you get the quantum that you're looking for, the premium is also very low. And it's always advisable to segregate your insurance needs and investment needs. When you invest for a long term, yes, ULIP can be a decent product, but if you really compare it with a mutual fund, I think you can get much better return, and also the expenses are lower. So my recommendation would be, like I said, first she needs to make sure that she's adequately insured, and if she is, then exit from this, and then kind of define her long-term goals and short-term goals and make a separate portfolio for investment from insurance. I think that will be the right approach from here on.
Yeah, that's true actually, Hemant. And so many times we have people who actually confuse investment as well as insurance, and you must remember that insurance should be only a pure risk cover. Up next, we have Simi, who's written to us from Mumbai. She wants to know if this is the right time to make investments in stocks like Tata, LXC, as well as Infosys. So we don't have any idea on why she's narrowed down these two stocks. But Meghna, if you could tell us how Tata, LXC, as well as Infosys look on the technical charts, and what are the kind of upsides you see?
Tata LXC looks good at current levels. She could enter long on the stock at current levels. She could place a stop loss at 1020 levels for a target of 1350. I would say the time frame would be around 6 to 8 months. Then again, if she wants to invest in Infosys, I could say current level again would be good enough, but a stop loss could be placed at 1850 levels, and she would expect a target of around 2150 levels on this stock.
Let's get to our next query then. We have Nilesh, who writes to us from Pune. He's holding 500 shares of Geometric at 184 rupees. He wants to know whether or not he should hold or he should exit at these levels. Stock doing well today, but in fact from his buy price, it's off close to around more than 20-25% off his buy price. Meghna, let's come to you. Geometric, what's your take on this particular stock? Our ACE reporter, in fact, Kritika, she says that the company is on the block and a lot of companies are looking at it. Do you think you should wait in there? Will he get that 184 rupees? Or do you think you should book some losses and get out?
Oh, well, the buy price is quite higher from the current price, I would say. But what I would advise technically is that the stock on the higher time frame looks weak compared to the other stocks that we have available at current rates right now. So I believe he could wait for a rally to 150 to 155 levels. At this rate, he could comfortably get out of the stock and move into some other stock, like you could say Ashok Leyland, something which is which is stronger when you compare the higher time frame charts. So I think you could wait for 150 levels and then exit and then switch over to Ashok Leyland.
All right, Nilesh, I hope you were listening to that advice. Up next, we have Love Rustagi, who's called in from Delhi. Hi, Love.
Hello.
Hi, what's your question?
Yeah, I have Kotak Select Regular Growth Plan,
Okay.
Birla Sun Life Top 100 Growth Plan, and SBI Magnum Multi-Cap Growth. All three in my SIP portfolio.
Okay.
However, I see that there is a 40 to 50% overlap in terms of their sector allocation between the Kotak Fund and Birla Sun Life, and also some overlap between the Kotak and the SBI Fund. So I want to ask if this is okay, or if shall I drop one of these funds because of the overlap, then which one should it be?
Okay, and how old are you, and is there any sort of goal that you have in mind for which you're saving up?
I'm 28 years and I've just completed my MBA and I will be joining a job.
Okay, and so this is basically wealth creation, and therefore you have a really long time horizon.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
First of all, congratulations on getting started early and for really being an informed investor. Hemant, how can we help Love sort of rejig his current portfolio?
Well, Sumera, I would say I think it's a very interesting question. I think it's good to see somebody going to the extent of trying to see what is the overlap in the portfolio, which of course every investor should do, but ideally speaking, it should be done before you make an investment, and thereafter maybe do once in a year. The idea is that if there is overlap in terms of sector allocation in the portfolio, whenever the market go up or go down, most of them will actually behave exactly the same way. So you won't get the kind of diversification that you're looking at. But there are a couple of other factors you need to look at. You have to look at also how consistent the fund has been in terms of performance, and also what is the allocation for different market segments like large cap and mid cap. Out of the three funds that he has mentioned, I would say, between Birla Top 100 and Kotak Select Focus, I would recommend that he should retain Kotak Select Focus on the parameters that are defined. And the third fund is Magnum Multi-Cap Fund, which, if I look at the first two funds, 73% is invested in the large cap and 27% is in mid cap. In the SBI Magnum Multi-Cap, it's around 50-50%. So I would say retain Kotak Select Focus and SBI Magnum Multi-Cap. If he needs to add another fund in place of Birla Top 100, then my recommendation would be that he should look at ICICI Value Discovery Fund.
All right, then, Love, I hope that, in fact, answers your query, as Hemant has tried to resolve it. But let's pull up Prestige Estates before we go to our next query. The stock should come up. You remember when we started off the show that stock suddenly did a big move. It was higher by close to around 10-11%. Now, in fact, it's higher by close to around 7%. So that intraday chart of that stock, in fact, should come up. We'll take a look at that. It's doing a bit of a jig. But let's get to our next query. We have Gurbakh Singh, who calls us from Nagpur, and he's interested in making investments in Symphony. Hi, Mr. Singh. Good afternoon.
हेलो गुड आफ्टरनून सर, गुरबख्श सिंह बोल रहा हूँ नागपुर से। सर मैं सिम्फनी का शेयर खरीदना चाहता हूँ।
ओके।
पिछले दिनों में काफी मूवमेंट है इसमें सर। एक साल के लिए किस लेवल पे खरीदी करनी चाहिए सर? और मैं एक साल के लिए इसको अपने पास रखना चाहता हूँ सर, यदि मैं खरीदता हूँ तो क्या प्रोस्पेक्ट है सर?
All right, Mr. Singh. Meghna, here we have an investor. In fact, he's been watching Symphony move around, correct 20%, 25%. Now it's done a bit of a bounce of around 10% from the lows that we saw last week. He wants to know whether he should get in, and if he should get in, then he wants to hold it for the next 1 year. Is it a wise decision according to you or not?
Yes, it is technically, because overall if you see the high time frame charts, the stock is really good. Momentum is in good time frame, good zone. And I believe this would be a good time to buy. You could buy at current levels with a stop loss of 1950. And I think you could expect a target of around 2800 levels in around 6 to 8 months time.
ऑलराइट गुरबख्श जी, आपके लिए यही राय है कि आप फिलहाल अगर सिम्फनी में इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाहते हैं तो आप बाय कर सकते हैं। इसका जो टारगेट है 6 से 8 महीने का, वो 2800 का है। अभी फिलहाल स्टॉक जो है वो 2250 पे है, लेकिन इसमें आपको स्टॉप लॉस 1950 का बना के चलना चाहिए. मतलब कि अगर स्टॉक 1950 के पास आए तो फिर आपको उसमें सेल कर देना चाहिए. So I hope that advice works for you. We have Suresh, who has written to us from Chennai. He says he wants to buy a health insurance policy and wants to know what are the suitable policies which are available. So in terms of his details, what we know is that he's 25 years old, he's a professional, and that's about it. So Hemant, any sort of broad advice that you want to give Suresh?
Well, Samana, I would say, first thing that he is doing the right thing by buying a health insurance plan, which is, we always recommend that, before you start your investment, you must ensure that all your risks to health and life are covered. But I think there are a few factors that one needs to consider before buying a health insurance plan. There are a couple of obvious factors, as we all know, that what is the sum insured and what is the premium that you need to pay. But apart from that, there are a couple of other factors. There are certain exclusions. What is the age limit that you have? And of course, another crucial decision that one needs to take is whether one should buy an individual plan or a family floater plan. If you're buying a health insurance plan for a young and a small family, I think it's always recommended that you buy a family floater plan. But if you have senior citizen in the family, then it's always good to buy individual plans for them. I think these are the couple of factors that one should look at. It's all about the suitability of the product. A couple of health insurance companies that have good product which you can consider is Max Bupa and Apollo Munich.
All right, then, some alternatives as well being given to you out there. But let's pull up Jubilant Industries. That stock, in fact, it's been a big winner this year. It's higher by close to around 100%. It's more than doubled this year. Just pull up Jubilant Industries. You'll see that that one as well has come off the high. When we started off trade, in fact, it was holding with a gain of around 6 to 7%. And now, just take a look at that stock. It's seen some sharp profit booking. If you just look at the end of that graph, you'll see that that one as well has come off close to around 4 to 5% from the day's high. But Rakesh calls us, in fact, from Dehradun, and he wants to know if it would be the right time to make investments in Yes Bank. Hi Rakesh.
Hello, sir.
Hi Rakesh, आपका सवाल क्या है? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. मैं सर Yes Bank बाय करना चाहता हूँ.
Okay.
1 से 2 साल का होराइजन है. तो क्या राय होगी?
All right, Meghna. Rakesh has spotted this stock. In fact, it's a new entrant in the Nifty as well. Should he buy this stock at these levels? He can hold it for approximately 2 years.
Yeah, hi Nigel. Yes Bank is currently trading at quite a high level, I would say. And looking at the movement of the stock, if you see the weekly charts, it's been consolidating and there are multiple divergences on the higher side. So if you would ask me personally, if you look from a 2-year horizon, I would recommend for him to buy a PSU bank, like a Bank of India rather than a Yes Bank, because the risk-reward ratio, if you see technically, fits better in Bank of India. So I would recommend that he would go with Bank of India rather than a Yes Bank.
All right, that's the advice. Bank of India is Meghna's preferred choice over Yes Bank. Up next, it's another banking query. In fact, Satish Sharma has written to us from Agra. He says he has 1,000 shares in Bank of Baroda, which he has bought at 165, and now wants to know if he should remain invested or book out. So Bank of Baroda seeing a very, very strong rally today. The numbers were reported today, and it's more relief than anything else because their asset quality is looking good. And after the scare that PNB gave us, so perhaps Bank of Baroda seeing a relief that this time around their asset quality has improved. In fact, incremental slippages are lowest that they have seen in the financial year. So that stock up nearly 17% now. But Meghna, what's your advice on this stock? Remain invested, looking good?
Yes, Samara, I see a very good support at 140 levels in Bank of Baroda, and I think the level that he is holding on, he could place a stop loss below this level because you of course seeing a very good bounce today, but overall there are multiple supports running into at this level. So I think he could hold on this stock with a stop of 140.